She still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, happy Friday, everyone, and welcome into a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 98. Today is Friday, April 26, 2024. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me from the great state of South Carolina, the legend, Joey D. Joe, how you doing today, kid?
Feeling good, living better. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm excited for the UFC to be back, and can't wait to get into the show, man. Got a lot in store for you guys. Bare knuckle fighting as well. You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah. Platinum Mike Perry. I can't fucking wait. We got Knucklemania 4 going down tomorrow in Los Angeles. UFC is back at the Apex UFC Vegas 91, headlined by Matus Nicolau and Alex Perez. So we'll have plays for you guys there. And then we'll start with some news right out of the gate. Sumudarji is out. Joshua Van at UFC 302 will now take on, I think you know this guy. You're very high on him. Tatsuro Tatara, the Japanese.
Tatsuro Taira stepping
Yes.
in on short notice.
You like that fight for him?
Man, no, he's taking on Josh Van.
Josh
That's a
Van,
tough
big underdog right now, plus 210.
Really, man. I guess we haven't really seen Josh Van in grappling exchanges all too much. So
Mhm.
maybe if it gets to the floor, hits the mat, Tyra's going to have a huge advantage. You know, maybe possibly drag Van into deep waters. But I think the same can be said on the feet. You know, Josh Van in his, if not debut, the second fight he had in the UFC, broke the record for most significant strikes to the body. And then in his, return to the octagon, he gets that knockout win. So Josh Van is a killer on the feet. I guess it's a clash of styles, as we always like to see. But that's an exciting fight for what was it again that we're getting that fight on?
UFC 302 here in Newark.
Woo! Jersey stand up.
Yep, Jersey stand up. Great fight. It's going to be a real test of the style for both fighters. I really like it for both fighters stepping in on short notice. And Joshua Van accepting it. I mean, this guy's a killer, so love it. Is it Angel or Angelusa?
I think it's like Angelusa.
Angelusa.
Yeah.
He's going to fight Gabriel Bonfim at the Apex UFC, whatever the number is, July 13th. You like this fight for Gabriel
I don't
Bonfim?
necessarily know if I could go in this corner of our boy Brian Battle and saying that, you know, Angelusa wanted his way out. I mean, if you were going that route, you could say the same for Bilal Muhammad when he got eye poke. Eye pokes are vicious, man. That's how you want to stop a fight. Groin strike, eye poke. There's a reason they're banned. But for him to fight Bonfim, bro, he's fighting Gabriel a little more explosive than Ishmael. Man, I think he got to look out for some explosive shots. You know, the flying knees. He's got to look out for big overhands. But it seems that the Bonfim brothers have been exposed. So there's a chance for a game and Lusa. He just doesn't, he can't look for a way out. He doesn't have to, try to, find the easy road out of there. He's got to definitely put his nose to the grindstone and bring it over to Gabriel there.
A little news for UFC 303. We got the co-main event. We mentioned the fight last week, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. It will be served as the co-main event. That's what the UFC is saying. I still think it might be Ian Gary versus Colby Covington. We'll see. But as of right now, it is Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. We also got a fight added to 303. Mayo Breno Silva, Macy Chasez as well.
Macy Chazon. Yeah, I saw that.
You like that fight?
Between the women, that's a solid matchup. I mean, Macy Chazon, the rematch that she had or the rescheduled bout last time, she got out of there in like 30 seconds, I think, in the first round. So she could be on the rise, and that's 135. So, inject some new blood into that division, which is much badly needed.
And we also got confirmed UFC 304, going down in Manchester. We were right. England, July 27th. The unfortunate part is that they will be catering to the European audience. Prelims will go around 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. Main card starts around 2-3 in the morning. Joe, first question, will you stay up for this pay-per-view?
Of course, yeah. Honestly, our brothers across the pond, brothers and sisters across the pond, they always sacrifice their day to, tune into the UFC when it's in the stateside. So we'll do the same for all of them there. Shout out everyone, over there in Europe, Great Britain, England, Ireland, you name it, man, Scotland, Wales, you name it. And I think it's deservedly right. You know what I mean? So it's going to be electric over there. You know how those crowds can be. And I'm hyped. I really am, man. I think we've called it, though. I think we called that 304 was going to host Manchester, or Manchester going to host 304.
Yeah, now we just got to see who headline it. It has to be either Bilal and Leon or the interim title with the heavyweights with
I
Tom
think Tom could
Aspinall.
sell more if you want to be real with it. I
Yeah.
think, I don't know how you're from Birmingham, how much a rival there is with Manchester fans, how much a home crowd's going to affect if Leon gets the headliner. It might not even be his home crowd.
And Tom Aspinall is actually from Manchester. That's the thing. I think he will headline it. And it's gonna take place newly opened Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. It's gonna be the first sporting event held in the new arena, officially the largest indoor arena in the UK. And then they also announced the fight. We got Nathaniel Wood.
Yeah.
He is from Manchester. He's gonna take on Daniel Pineda for UFC 304.
That's
Do you like this fight?
I think Nathaniel Wood is a little more technical than Pineda, but he's got a big old pit bull tatted on his back, so he's a dog, Daniel Pineda. But I would side with the more technical fighter. I think Nathaniel Wood not only has that dog in him, he has the technical prowess as well.
For a fight card, we do have a main event, UFC Louisville, June 8th, 5-round main event in the middleweight division. Jared Cannonier taking on Nasruddin Imavov. I love this fight for both fighters. I think they're both a fight or two away from maybe a title fight or getting into the top 5, but I love this fight. First fight coming back from injury for Jared Cannonier. You like this?
Yeah, I think it's a good main event. The passionate fans out in the Midwest, they're going to get those venues filled up. That's for sure. What I'm seeing in terms of the fight, Imavov, he's the, what is it? The French sniper, literally that's his nickname. And, Killer Gorilla, Jared Cannonier, he always brings it. It's a war of attrition. I'm thinking this is going to be a later round fight, like where a finish could occur. I would hate for a main event to go to the judges, but these guys are so durable. If Imavov could stay on the outside and pick his shots and stay away from the power, yeah, he can win on the judges' scorecards, but so can, Cannonier. Cannonier can absolutely do the same. I think the power is going to be the X factor in that one. You got someone who's a little longer and rangier, but don't mind what Cannonier's done. He fought in the heavyweight division. He fought in the light heavyweight division. He fought with bigger guys all the time. So I think he'll be fine in that situation.
The Killer Gorilla. Do not ever underestimate him. They did it against Sean Strickland, and he winded up winning a unanimous decision or split decision against Sean Strickland. So, and shout out Jared Cannonier putting his number 4th middleweight ranking against a number 8 Nasruddin Imavov. A lot of people aren't fighting down like that. So
yep.
I love that. We also get 2 more fights. Welcome back, Dominic Reyes. He will take on Dustin Jacoby, UFC Louisville, and Andre KGB Lee is going to take on Montana De La Rosa as well. You like both of those fights?
Yeah, Montana De La Rosa is a good fighter. Andrea KGB Lee, though, she's like one of my dark horse favorite fighters. Like I've always liked her when she came out the cowboy hat, so she's like a fan favorite of mine. And it's a tough fight. Dustin Jacoby is a kickboxer extraordinaire, and he's taking on Dom Cruz. We always say that Dom Cruz, but no, it's not. It's Dom. Say it again.
Reyes.
Reyes. Damn, bro, I'm so sorry because I want him to return back, and I want him to do well. But after we've seen him get hurt on the feet so many times, and it seems that even though he could wrestle, he does want to keep the fight standing. So I think his path of least resistance, even though you don't wish for a easy life. You wish for the strength to endure a tough one, a hard one. That's his way to victory. I think is getting Justin Jacoby down, trying to submit him. I know that's not his game. Maybe ground and pound, something where he's getting Dustin Jacoby out of his realm because we've seen him, in K1. We've seen him in Glory. Dustin Jacoby has had some serious stand-up fights, and he's got the pedigree to back it. So, yeah, Reyes is going to have to avoid that at all costs on his first fight back and avoid the head trauma because we've seen some serious shots he tipped in the past.
I agree. I think he needs to get this fight to the ground, but he loves to stand up sometimes and trade and bang. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like he's never been the same after that John Jones fight. And a lot of people thought he won. I thought he gave John Jones a hell of a fight.
No, that was the hardest fight, I think, besides Gustafsson for John Jones in terms of closeness, competitiveness, the scorecards themselves. And it was weird. I think maybe it just took a lot of the wind out of his sails, if you would, for Reyes, thinking that he could have been champ and what could have been. But I think in terms of a physical aspect, he wasn't the same since the Yuri Prochazka spinning hill.
Yeah. Joaquin Buckley gets his wish, not the main event, but it is the co-main event. Joaquin Buckley will co-main event UFC St. Louis against Nurzultan. Nursultan Rusabev,
Yeah.
if I can ask that
You
correct.
said-
May
you hit the
11th.
last name, yeah.
I like this fight. I worry about this for Joaquin Buckley, though. I think this is
Yeah.
a challenging. I think the
Tough fight.
power.
But mind you, that he fought at 185. So regardless of the fact is Nursultan's coming in from 185, trying to make 170. It doesn't make sense in terms of the rankings, but I guess you can have him kind of like a Hamzat figure, could
Mhm.
possibly make both weights. So I got a little juice for you guys. Might be
Mm.
worth the squeeze. I'm expecting because the dude's coming down from 185 that they're going to be plus money because now you can bet on if fighters make
Yeah.
or miss weight. I would go ahead and say take the plus money you get with Nursultan to make weight. I bet you that they're expecting him to miss 170. I would go ahead and take the plus money. It might be slight, but I'd say, hey, any plus money is good for me, and I'd take it. I'd take Nursultan to make 170 and make that an official co-main event fight in where are we at? St. Louis, Missouri, right? For that one.
Yeah, St. Louis, Missouri. I think it's in about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks now. It's May 11th.
He's ready. I think these kind of guys, they're not, getting out of fight shape. They're always ready. They're always training. So all I think he has to do is just water load a little bit and then cut it off, and he'll make 170 fine. I know he doesn't seem like he has a lot of weight to cut or much to be able to cut, but I believe he'll do it. And like I said, I'll take the plus money.
Yeah, I agree. I love that we could bet on fighters to make or miss weight now. You got to love it. We got Cedric Doumbé news. He was supposed to take on Derek Anderson in the co-main event of the Bellator Champion Series May 17th in Paris, but his opponent had to pull out of the fight due to the fact that he was involved in a hit-and-run accident a few days later. He obviously had to pull out. Now Cedric Doumbé will take on Jalen Willis at Bellator Paris May 17th. First, do you know anything about his opponent, and do you like that he's kind of moving away from Baki?
I think he does. He needs to get a little more traction under himself in his new second career, in MMA. Prayers up to his opponent. That's never fun. I hope it wasn't just like a, like he was on as a pedestrian and he got hit and ran. He was in a vehicle, correct? Yeah, but still, you hate to see stuff like that, but he'll find another opponent. I think they want to keep Doumbé on that Paris card because he's going to sell the place out. You're going to have stars show up for him, regardless of that he took a loss to Baki. Baki was another French superstar. Dude's undefeated, and he gave Doumbé a fight for his life there. So that's not a bad loss going forward, especially if he stays undefeated. And you could run it back when Doumbé becomes a little more seasoned at that weight class and in MMA. So, yeah, they're going to get him a fight. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what
this new opponent, Jalen Willis. I'm interested to see if he kind of takes the Baki approach and kind of fights him that way, because I think he did have success in the first round, especially. So very interested to see how he
move away from him. They'll get it back. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Eventually they. I mean, I would imagine Cedric Doumbé wants that fight back because he saw the way the fight was going on. Yeah, he didn't have a good first round, but he kind of was leading, going in and winning that second round. Speaking of Paris, France, Arman Tsarukyan, he announced that he's actually going to take on Benel Saint Denis in a grappling match May 18th in Paris, France. You like this? I don't. One, because Arman Tsarukyan just told the UFC that he's not ready to get a title shot, but you're ready to go and have a grappling match against BSD. Well, I don't like that.
We know firsthand that it's a difference between going to a fight and a grappling match. It's not combat jiu-jitsu. You're not taking shots to the head. That's I know there's a chance of injury with anything, but it's either tap, snap, or nap. You know what I'm saying? So the best move of all that is the tap if they get caught in something. And I don't think BSD is any slouch when it comes to the grappling at all. So that's in a competitive matchup. Arman, I think, is going to have the advantage with the wrestling and his own submission game. But BSD is no slouch. And you said it's going to be in Paris.
Yeah, Paris, France, May 18th. Yeah, in a few weeks. So I love
UFC
it.
Fight Pass, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be on UFC Fight Pass. I don't know. Like when you get a championship opportunity, especially against a guy that you wanted to get back so much, you say no, then Islam comes out and criticizes you. You chirp back at him, but then
like a duck.
but then go, yeah, actually grapple though. And we've seen a lot of guys do it. Aljo did it in his time off up until UFC 300. He grappled Chase Hooper. We're starting to see a lot of people grapple in between their fights. Do you
There's
think
money
it's
to be
a
made there.
benefit?
There's some money to be made there. It keeps you in fight shape. It's not like you have to go and cut the weight, depending on if they agree to a certain weight to, grapple at. But I think it's a way to stay fresh without taking the head trauma, as we spoke on.
Mhm.
And like I said, it kind of makes him look like a duck. That's what I was trying to interject with that. But these fighters do stuff to go ahead and make money for their lives, for their families, and stay fight ready. So
Yeah.
I can't really blame Arman too much, especially with Islam having a big fight with Dustin in Newark next. So I think he wants to wait and see. But don't be surprised if the UFC gives him the Bilal treatment and goes ahead and skips him
Yeah.
with another fighter.
And we've seen that already, where UFC kind of doesn't like when you don't accept title fights. We saw it with DDP. We see it with Bilal. This might be the next
You
way
can't
for
call the
Arman.
shots yet. You're not the champ.
You're not the champ. Big news, kid. NXT Battleground will take place at the UFC Apex on June 9th. The WWE and UFC merger is in full swing, baby.
What? I never heard of this. I didn't even see it anywhere. I know I've been busy, but dude, what? I would expect to see something like that, especially with what I follow. But dude, that's sick. Like, you're gonna have someone jump off the
I love it.
Backflip off the cage. Moonsault.
Oh my! You like NXT Battleground? I don't know too much about it, if I'm being honest.
It's look at who we have now in the WWE, my man. They started in NXT. Some of the pillars of the organization, like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, they were focal points in NXT. So don't be surprised in the coming years you see the dawn of the NXT. Come up and be a staple. I'm pretty sure Ilya Dragunov is going to be called up to Raw in the draft that's coming up. Shout out the NFL draft that's taking place. And then, the WWE draft will be taking place as well. So don't be surprised when Ilya Dragunov's drafted to Raw, which will be happening tonight or Monday. And, they got a new champion as well, Trick Williams. So I always like the NXT because it kind of gives you a peek into the future.
Yeah, and I like it. I was thinking when you were talking just now, I was like, I feel like the draft for the WWE is supposed to come up either last week or this week.
Monday.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so it is. So Friday Night SmackDown. Hell yeah, let's fucking go. But yeah, that's all the news I got, kid. Let's get into these picks. Before we do so, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with Joe or an elderberry watching Friday Night SmackDown, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, let's get into these picks. We'll start back at the Apex where we just left off. We're back with another fight night at the Apex, UFC Vegas 91. Earlier start time, thank God. Prelim start at 4 p.m. here on the East Coast. Main card starts at 7. But, Joe, I'll let you take it over, kid. What do you got?
All right, my boy. Yeah, it starts in the lightweight division. Maheshate Haisar -210 taking on Gabriel Mowgli Benitez at +200. I'm not going to have a play, but I figured to give the odds in here. Gabriel's going to have to make it ugly. He's going to have to live up to his nickname, Mowgli, and just make it a war of attrition in there, kind of put the grind to Haishire there. But I think the favorite might be right in this one. I think he's a kind of a rising Chinese star for them. Not many men Chinese athletes coming up, but he could be one of them. So we'll wait and see to start the card. And in the women's flyweight division, Ivana Petrovic, a -500, and it's taking Liang Na or Na Liang at +400. I know a lot of people love her, but every time she's been in a dog spot, she hasn't come through clutch. So once again, I don't have a play here. So I would just be cautious about taking that big of a plus money dog because Ivana Petrovic, she looks like to be the real deal. And once again, I agree with the odds there. in the lightweight division, we return, and James Goku Lontop, what a nickname, my fellow Peruvian at minus 400, taking on Chris Padilla at plus 350. I would lean with Goku. I've seen his skill set in the Dana White Contender Series. I think he's an explosive, well-rounded fighter. So I think the odds yet again are right. I do think, unfortunately, I think the chalk's looking good on this card so far. And I would be leaning with Goku in this one. Now we go to the women's strawweight division where Caitlin Souza at minus 330 is taking on Marnik Mann. And yet again, I would actually be going with Souza on this one. I don't have an official play at all. Sometimes in the women's divisions, when you see that big of a separation as we saw in the second fight, sometimes these dogs hit. I think there's not too much disparity between the level of the fighter, but I'm agreeing with the odds makers in this one again. Like I said, D-Rock, a lot of chalk, my man. I'm siding with a lot of it. So let's go into the heavyweight division here. Don'Tale Mayes, we get King Kong back, take plus 100, take it on Kyle Machado at minus 115. Even these guys made weight. I'm pretty sure Don'Tale Mayes missed heavyweight one time. He did not make weight at 265. So that was funny to interject. But yeah, I mean, I think there's some value on Don'Tale Mayes. I'm going to stay away from it because of the heavyweight division. Anything can happen. But I do think Don'Tale Mayes will have an advantage in terms of size. Cal Machado fought at middleweight. So he's a little smaller in terms of his actual body frame. He's just now a heavier guy fighting at 265. But Don'Tale Mayes, like I said, he didn't make 265. He's always been a big cat. Now we go into a tough alumni. We got in the lightweight division, Austin Hubbard. He's a dog, plus 155. That's a big underdog slot, taking on Mikhail Figlak at minus 175. I mean, Polish power may rear its ugly head here. We love our Polish fighters. Minus 175 might be worth the play. I think I'd take him straight up. I'm going to make it an official one. This is the last second play for me because I don't have anything for it, but until now, I'm going to take Figlak with the Polish power. I think, with me siding with the odds makers, I think they're seeing something. I think we're getting more and more sharps in the game, and so I think they're going to try to get the value out of these fights. At minus 175, I still think you can actually play something on the money line. So
minus 163, I see.
Okay,
so shop around.
Some bucks. Yeah, shop around. So Austin Hubbard, he when he's fought high level competition, he's fallen flat in his face, and that's unfortunate because we've had high expectations for him when he first came around in the UFC. So he's a little older in his career now. And Mikhail Figlak, I know he lost his debut fight, but he's going to want to get back on track in this one, and this is a good spot to do it. So, yeah, give me the slight chalk, but at minus, you said 163, 165 to 175, minus 175, give me Mikhail Figlak there.
Joe, this isn't like you. You really touch usually the whole card, not having anything up until the main card.
Well, I got to lean in there. I just made an official play. And we go into the bantamweight division. Hani Yahya plus 340. A lot of my jiu-jitsu cats say he's live in this one, but I have a contrary opinion. Victor Henry is just as skillful as he is on the ground as the feet. He's minus 420 for a reason. Josh Barnett, protege. He's training with the who's who in his fight camp. Traveled all around the world before getting into the UFC. Josh Barnett was making fights for him all over in Japan, in Europe. I mean, I think he's even fought in the African continent. So Victor Henry is a seasoned veteran. Even though he's a couple fights in the UFC, he's 36 years of age, and I think he's in his prime. So Hani Yahya does get caught with shots. He's a little chinny in my eyes. Victor Henry could finish this fight. I think that's where you're getting the minus 420. But once again, I don't have an official play because I'm not seeing which way there's going to be a path to victory for Victor Henry. I would play him straight up on the money line because I do think he can win unanimously. I do think he could chin him, but I think he could surprise a lot of people and submit him. And that's a feather in the cap of Victor Henry if he could submit a jiu-jitsu ace like Hani Yahya. So now we move into the main card. In the welterweight division, we have Tim Dirty Bird Means at plus 250 against Uros the Dr. Medic at minus 300. D-Rock, I'm passing this to you for the opener of the main card. Who you got? Are you taking the value with Dirty Bird?
I mean, let's start the main card with a banger. I feel like this fight is flying under the radar, Joe. Means almost pushing 40 years old. The chin isn't what it used to be. Medic's coming off a win. Instead of picking his side, I'm going to take the over 1.5 rounds at minus 148. Medic, He takes his time with it. Means he's going to have to use his wrestling and his grappling in this fight. He doesn't want to stand on the feet. I get some people are taking a flyer on Tim Means. I don't hate it, but I'm just not confident in the side. So more confident in the rounds. I do think this fight ends around late second, early third. Give me over 1.5 rounds at -148.
Yo, I like that, man. Because I do have on my verdict predictions Tim Means via decision. So I'm taking the dog at +250. Uros Medic, he's only lost 2 fights via submission. So you think that's kind of not Tim Means' gain. He's not really going to be looking for a submission. He's going to want to stand and bang. And I do think he has the chance to like have this a knock him out, drag him out kind of brawl here. And I think Tim Means thrives in those situations. So he did give Uros Medic, who also has never won via decision in his career. Uros Medic's a finisher. He's only lost by submission. It kind of takes out of Tim Means' game what you expect, like I said, with him going to want to stand and bang or possibly get it to decision. But I'm taking the value with him. I think, as you said, the over, I think we're seeing a decision in this one, but it's going to be a rough, rugged one in that. And like I said, Tim Means thrives in those situations. So give me the Dirty Bird at +250 to start off the main card. Got to take the plus value in that. Love it. 40 years old, 10 + 8. You normally go the opposite. Normally go the younger side of the 10-year age gap. But
Yeah.
And I do like the doctor a lot. But I think this situation is going to be tough, especially coming off a loss for Medivh. So in the featherweight division, JSP, Jonathan Pierce, at -155, surprisingly. He's taking on David Onama at +145. I'm going to be straight up with you. You're going to see a lot of second-round finishes between the two of these fighters, but I think it gets done in one. Give me David Onama at +145. Again, I got 2 dogs to start off the main card here. I started off slow. We were pushing that rock up the hill, but now we're downhill with all these plays. I think Jonathan Pierce does have the opportunity to finish the fight, but as it gets later, Onama does tend to slow down because we've seen his gas tank deplete in the later rounds. But I think he's super dangerous, David Onama is in the first round. You've seen Jonathan Pierce lose a bunch of times in the first round. I think it's a play to pick him +145 straight up. But if you want to take a prop, maybe a first round finish, just winning round 1, it'd probably be like +300 or something along those lines, because you're not picking a specific way. You're not taking him to knock him out or to submit him. You're just saying he's going to win in the first round. So I'm just taking him on the money line. You have seen Onama win on the scorecards. You have seen him got second round finishes as well. I like Jonathan Pierce a lot, but I think David Onama is dangerous. And if he's gotten the conditioning down pack, watch out. He might see a new David Onama.
Yeah, potential fight of the night here, Joe. And to be honest, I think a lot of people like yourself are going to take a shot here with David Onama because of his power, what happened in Pierce's last fight. But I just think Pierce has the wrestling. He has the pace that could give Onama some trouble in this fight. I'm going to take Pierce here, -155. He has to use his wrestling since the wrestling is where Onama is his worst. We've also seen fighters test Onama's cardio, like you mentioned. So I think Pierce will test it. Should go all 3 rounds. I would even sprinkle a little on Pierce to win via decision at +270.
Nice.
I'm going to go the different route, but I'm going to take Jonathan Pierce here, -155.
Fair observation. I enjoy that. And I agree with you. It could be fight of the night there.
That's what they need to get up next. Now we can bet on fighters to miss weight, fight of the night. That would be
what
sick.
fights can be fight of the night, or even performance bonuses.
Yeah.
Because you don't necessarily take a side. You could just say, you know what, this is a highly anticipated matchup. I think whoever comes out victorious will win a performance of the night bonus. So that's a solid one. Let's go into the heavyweight division next. And Jonathan Diniz, -250, is taking on Austin Lane at +270. I would be staying away from Austin Lane entirely in this one. I mean, look at Jonathan Diniz's resume. First round knockout, first round knockout, first round knockout, first round knockout. If this doesn't happen in this one, I don't know what to say. I'm taking Diniz via KO TKO at round 1 at minus that is 115. Yeah, he's favored to get this knockout in the first round. He's favored to get a knockout any round. And I think his Muay Thai background speaks for itself. So I got the Brazilian all the way in this one. I don't think Austin Lane's going to win. And I think he might be getting out of the UFC after this, especially after the eye poke and then a knockout loss previously.
How do you pronounce his last name real quick, Joe?
Diniz.
Diniz.
Jonathan Diniz.
Yeah, tough fight to get some value here, unless you like the dog. But I agree with Joe. I would stay far away from Austin Lane. I do like Diniz via KO TKO, but that's around -190. All of his wins have come by knockout, like you've said. Austin Lane's chin is just not there. He doesn't move his head at all. I like Denise coming off the Contender Series. I think he is going to get a knockout. Like you said, even first round knockout is favored at -115.
Yeah.
You got to go there. I don't see what other way it's going to go. I think he's a good parlay piece as well, Denise. But yeah, I think he is the right side here. So everything Joe said.
Sweet. Yep, we're on the same side in that one. And we go to the featured bout of UFC Vegas 91 in the women's flyweight division. Karine Silva, we get to see her on display at -150, taking on a game. Ariane Lipski at +135. D-Rock, I'm going to hand it off to you. Do you think we can get another maybe possible fight of the night between these two women?
I don't know. I think it should be a good fight. I do think Silva is the real deal. She has the power. She could submit you. And Andrea Lipski, she's a violent fighter, but we've seen her get knocked out before. Most of her losses have come by knockout. I think she might be a little overconfident in coming into this fight. This is Silva's fight to lose, in my opinion. Give me her straight up on the money line, -150, and a little fun prop I like for this fight. Give me Silva via submission in the second round, 12-1.
Yeah, man. I like that. We saw Ariane Lipski get a armbar finish against King Casey O'Neill, your girl, last time out. She's on a 3-fight win streak, Ariane Lipski is, so she could have kind of reconnaissance going on in her career. But yeah, let's compare it to Karine Silva's win streak, which is going all the way back to 2019. She has not lost a fight since 2019. She's got a bunch of first round finishes. You talk about Ariane Lipski being violent. I think Karine Silva could be just as violent. I mean, she does live up to her nickname, Killer Karine Silva. So yeah, knockouts in the first round, heel hooks in the first round, even some things in the second round, fighting all over the world. I think she's really making a name for herself. And Ariane Lipski has been, a UFC stalwart for a while now. If you can get through her, you can fight the who's who of the division. So I think I'm on the same side in this one. I think Karine Silva needs a win over Ariane Lipski to continue her, what is it now? Her 10-fight win streak. If she gets a win tomorrow, it will be 11-fight win streak. So -155 Karine Silva. -150. I'm seeing -145. Okay. Yeah, it's just shop around. But yeah. We're on the same side yet again.
What could go wrong?
Oh, goodness. There we go into the co-main event slot. In the light heavyweight division, Ryan Superman Spann is a favorite on the books at -175, and he's taking on Bogdan Guskov at +160. Man, if you don't know a lot about Bogdan Guskov, I think the UFC likes this guy because look who they put him up against since he's made his debut. They put him against Volkan Ozdemir in his first fight, and that was just not, a easy matchup. I think that jump up in level of competition, it was one of the most severe I've ever seen, to be completely honest. Volkan Ozdemir is a good fighter at light heavyweight. But then he goes on to take Zach Pauga out, and I think they dropped Zach Pauga out of the UFC after that. He knocked him out in the first round. So, once again, he's getting back up there in the level of competition against Superman Spann, and Superman Spann's no joke. I think he can have a lot of path to victories in this one, but the one thing that does tend to happen with Ryan Spann is sometimes he gets caught, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Most of the time it comes via in the form of submission, but I mean, even Johnny Walker has gotten him. So, man, I do think Guskov has some power, and though you would favor Ryan Superman Spann in this spot, I'm going to go with the dog. I'm going to take Bogdan Guskov to, after fighting Volkan, be used to the level of competition the UFC has to offer and just go off of that. +160, I think there's some value, but I don't blame anyone for playing it safe and taking Ryan Superman Spann. So Bogdan Guskov +160 is my co-main event play.
First off, I can't believe how much Guskov looks like Anthony Smith. I mean, for a second, I thought they were running it back. I double checked. I was like, no fucking way. But yeah, Guskov, he is coming off a nice win. And Ryan Spann, I don't even know how to handicap this guy anymore. I do think he's super athletic, super talented. I just feel like he drops the ball every time we think he's ready for a step up in competition. He falls flat on his face.
And this is a step down, if you would.
We know he has knockout power. He can submit you. Against Guskov, Spann has to watch out for that right hand. That right upper hook, that right hand is going to connect, and he might put you, like you're saying. So I just think Ryan Spann needs this fight more. He's the much more talented fighter. This fight is super important. I'm not saying none of the fights are, but this one, like you said, coming off 2 losses, moving forward in his career, I think this is super important to him. I mean, the money line just number isn't terrible. -180 I took straight up. So give me Superman Spann. If you want better odds, I would take Ryan Spann to win inside the distance, but even that is like minus 150.
Wow, interesting. You know, it's crazy. You see Ryan Spann, man, his submission is like his bread and butter to get a victory. But 2 of his last 3 losses have come via submission losses. So very interesting to see. And I agree with what you first said. You just don't know how to necessarily cap this guy at all. It's he makes it hard for us, if you would. So we've done it. We've made it to the main event of UFC Vegas 91, and it's in the flyweight division, 125 pounds. Matheus Nicolau a minus 175, taking a short notice newcomer, Alex Perez, at plus 155. You know, he was supposed to take on Manel Kape, but we have seen time and time again Manel Kape not make weight, call out of fights. I make a statement there, but I do think he's an exciting fighter, so I think the UFC is going to give him a chance. But if you don't make weight next time out, 125, see ya Figueiredo at 135.
Yeah, at that time, I think they have to force your hand and you have to move
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm going to hand it off to you. What do you have in
Yeah.
this main event, my boy?
I do think Matheus Nicolau is the better striker of the 2, but I also think Alex Perez has ways to win this fight as well, which is why the odds are as close as they are, in my opinion. You know, Matheus Nicolau is coming off that year layoff after getting knocked out by Brandon Royval. I feel like Alex Perez looked the best he's looked in a while, even in that loss a few weeks back. You know, even in the loss, he looked good. Where he was still losing on the feet to Mohamed Mokaev, who isn't known for his striking. So based on that, I'm going to go Matheus Nicolau here. I think the odds, you know, make sense. Unless he gets knocked out again and that chin is completely gone, I just don't see him losing this fight. I think Matheus Nicolau has more ways to win. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight went under 4.5 rounds as well. But I'm going to go Matheus Nicolau here straight up on the money line, minus 175. I think he is the real deal.
Yeah, man. So you took back Nicolau straight up on the money line. That's interesting. I was not expecting that. You know, as much as I, think that Alex Perez won that fight against Mohamed Mokaev his last time out, another time he stepped in short notice. I think there's a little bit of separation in terms of how good Matheus Nicolau really is. I think he's a really good fighter. The fight prior to Brandon Royval, he's finishing guys like Matt Snell. He goes on a decision streak. He fights Tim Elliott, beats him. He did beat Manel Kape, so he got the better of him there. And it seems like Manel Kape didn't want that fight back because he was scheduled twice to fight him, and it never came to fruition. So, yeah, I would, if you want to take some value, because I do have Matheus Nicolau straight up on the money line at minus 175. Don't get me wrong. I think Alex Perez is kind of live in this spot, especially if he can implement his game plan, which I think would to avoid submissions on the ground, but definitely put Nicolau on his back, because I think Nicolau may have better striking, especially I think Mokaev. You don't have to worry too much about the striking there for Perez. That's why, he looked better in that one. He's got to avoid the power shots on the feet and put him to the mat, put the back of the mat, and just keep trying to pass guard and work as much submissions as possible. And that could swing the favor of the judges in his card. But I think, it comes down to damage. And I would think look for the prop Nicolau to win via decision. I don't know what that's going to be at. It might be like plus 200 maybe. I think they're favoring a finish quite possibly from him. But Perez is a game guy. He's dog. He has a grit. He's durable. You don't see Alex Perez get finished all too much, to be completely honest with you. So I just think that the power and the damage that he's going to take is going to be the X factor in this one. So I think they'll give the judges will give it to Nicolau unanimously. But minus 175. Yeah,
to win via decision plus 275.
Plus 275. I think that's some value. I won't take it because I do think there's a chance of him finishing it early. You just don't see it too often at 125. The guys move a lot quicker. There's a lot less power, but Nicolau does have the little more advantage in terms of that. So, yeah, Nicolau minus 175. It's a safe bet. It's playable, and I'm going to take it.
I think we see a bounce back here from Nicolau as well. I was referencing under 4.5 rounds because just like what Joe said, I do think we could see a knockout later towards the fight goes on. Minus 138 for under 4.5 rounds. I think that's good value as well. Fight to go to the judges scorecard plus 135 if you think it's going to go all 5 rounds. I just don't necessarily think that will be the case. Joe, good luck. We haven't had UFC. We had this hangover after UFC 300. Let's get back on the horse, kid. We also got Knucklemania 4. Can't wait. That is going down tomorrow on YouTube, actually. You could pay for it, but it's on YouTube as well. It's on Peacock. It's $29.99. I know that. It goes down at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles tomorrow.
They have the prelims free, though, right?
Yeah, prelims are free. I think it's on Fubo Sports, and then on the main card, you got to pay for it, but it's only $29. It's much cheaper than a UFC card. But yeah, Platinum Mike Perry, baby, he will be taking on Thiago Alves, guy that kind of ducked him in my opinion, but you know,
how you doing?
We'll see. We got the rematch, not the rematch, the fight that actually Mike Perry's been wanting.
Yeah,
he's been saying, you know, Alves, as soon as Mike Perry went over to BKFC, Alves just winded up leaving, going 2-0. He was the champ back in the day. Now they get the fight, kid. What do you like here?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup. I like the whole entire card, if you haven't known. As some fighters, some recognizable names as well for Knucklemania 4. Biggest event that BKFC has ever put on. And in the main event, man, I think it's Mike Perry's fight. You know, he is the king of violence, my man. I don't think anyone on this planet would be dumb enough to take a fight with him bare knuckle, because he's going to hurt you and he could take pain like no other. So I think you're going to see that here. I would lean him getting Thiago Alves out of there, because he even though he's a good striker, I just don't think that, you know, he's going to be able to implement all his weapons. Thiago Alves is like a Muay Thai guy in the UFC, you know, able to throw some hard leg kicks, throw some knees. He's not going to be able to. He's got to strictly box in the circled square of the BKFC ring. So yeah, Platinum Mike Perry is the play in the main event. He's minus 710, so there's no value, but yeah, I would favor the knockout finish, to be honest with you. And I don't know if I have not seen any props for this stuff. Maybe because everyone will be playing it, and that's why they're against it. So
I forgot to mention they are fighting at 185. Perry 4-0, and you know BKFC is his home. I just can't see Alves winning this fight. I'm gonna take Perry via KO TKO as well. No odds yet, but remember how I said Tim Means, you know, usually we go away from the older fighter because we say, you know, he's the younger, fresher fighter, and I think the main thing, Mike Perry's not fighting for the money. He's fighting because that's who he is and that's what he loves to do. He likes pain as much as he likes inflicting it.
He's like, crazy, bro.
I love fucking Mike Perry. Old man Alves, he just wants a paycheck. Honestly, I really think this fight is a mismatch. I feel like Alves, if he can't weather the storm early on, I think the fight could get out of hand very quickly. Maybe you could add Mike Perry into one of your UFC parlays. I did do that. So I just added him in because you could only take the money line. And like Joe said, minus 710 is what I'm seeing. So if your book allows that, the one that I got is called, no free shout outs, but Bet Online. Okay. It's legal in it's all legal in 49 states except New Jersey, kid. Can you believe it? Wow. Yeah, thankfully I work in New York, but yeah, I was able to get that bet in today. But yeah, he's a massive favorite, but for obvious reasons, he's the king of violence. Give me and still Mike Perry.
Absolutely. Yeah, bro. I don't know if you have much of a breakdown for like the co-main featured.
Honestly, the only other guy I know, you mentioned him, Big Ben Rothwell.
Ben Rothwell. Shout out Big Ben Rothwell. But in the co-main event slot, Mick Terrell, he's been the champion for a while at the heavyweight division. He's plus 175 because I think everyone's looking at Lorenzo Hunt, the juggernaut, at minus 215 as, you know, an absolute killer. And I think you can argue that he may be better than Mike Perry in the bare knuckle world, you know, in the bare knuckle boxing world. Lorenzo Hunt is king. He's going for that heavyweight title, and if he wins that, he will have all three belts. Actually, he will have the middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight belt. So Lorenzo Hunt, arguably pound for pound #1 over Mike Perry. They've sparred a bunch of times. If you see them, both of them get down and dirty, bro. So you know, iron sharpens iron there. I'm going with the chalk yet again. I got Lorenzo Hunt in the co-main event to be a 3-weight champion there for BKFC. And then feature bout, Ben Rothwell, minus 450 is taking on Todd Duffy at plus 350. We talked about this fight about 6 months ago where it should have happened. And I was with Big Ben Rothwell at the time, but Todd Duffy was ready to fight there. Ben Rothwell had to pull out. And like I did shout out Big Ben Rothwell. I'm a huge fan. There is a little bit of an age discrepancy, though Todd Duffy's chin has been caught plenty of times. He does have explosive knockout power. And at plus 350, I think there's some tremendous value there. Heavyweight, anything can happen. I'm going to go take a chance and take Todd Duffy. Going against my kind of gut instinct in that one, but plus 350, super enticing. I had to do it here because I didn't really do it for much of the UFC card. And then Erveni Kurdanov is minus 180 against Julian Lane, plus 150. Let me bang, bro. But no, I'm taking Kurdanov to catch Julian Lane. Minus 180 is the play because I just think he's going to be better and more conditioned. Maybe could take punishment a little more. Julian Lane is known to be able to take a punch, especially in the bare knuckle, circled square, if you would. But I agree with the books. I think Julian Lane is a little underskilled here, and Kurdanov looks to be the real deal. So give me him at minus 180. So that'll do it for Knucklemania 4. And I'm excited because tomorrow is going to be a loaded bunch of cards between Knucklemania 4 and UFC Vegas 91.
Yeah, no 10 seconds left. You'll be back next week with some action. But yeah, like Joe said, we got a lot to watch. We got Knucklemania 4. We got SmackDown tonight. We got UFC is back. I think it's a very underrated card. I like the main card a lot. So be sure to check that out. Joe, real quick, on our way out, the UFC just dropped the 303 tickets. I'm looking at the prices for
$12,000.
The cheapest is $1,777 all the way up there, all the way up. Like you're by Montana.
Hey, it's McGregor, bro. He's a movie star.
And then down low, the cheapest I see is $13,000.
Yeah, man. I gotta call my VIP Connect. Maybe we go, bro. Maybe we go.
Holy shit. If anyone wants to start a GoFundMe for the boys to go to international,
I'll be real with you. I think I've heard a little inkling that not only are we getting the Abu Dhabi card in October, but it's going to be soon confirmed that we're going to get a fight in Salt Lake City. And I'm thinking of going to that one above all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Got some family out there as well. Joe, any last words before we get up out of here, kid?
Just be safe, responsibly bet, have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys Sunday night to Monday morning. We'll get everything.
Let's fucking go. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, I am D-Rock. We'll see you guys on Monday. So make sure you guys go follow along our social media, X and Instagram at Axe Kick Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Friday afternoon and Sunday night. So go to youtube.com/Axe Kick Picks live. Hit that like button. Subscribe, rate, give us a review, comment in the comments who you are betting on this week. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Good luck on your wagers this weekend. Like Joe said, be safe, be well, and we will see you guys on Monday. Peace.